Hey, what's up, YouTube? Thanks so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for taking your time, taking a couple minutes to listen to my content. First of all, if you're a subscriber and you're stopping by, thank you so much for stopping by. Do me a favor and hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and ding that little bell. That way you can get notifications of when I create new content, and you can come by and check it out right away. Okay. So I wanted to make this video because I think a lot of the people on my friends list, a lot of my contacts, would get a lot of value from what I'm about to share with you guys. I was asked the question, what I think is the biggest challenge that musicians and artists face when to acquire new listeners. What is the biggest challenge that I think musicians, artists face in acquiring new listeners? First of all, I think the biggest challenge, and I think this is probably where I become Mr. Unpopular with a lot of you guys, but I think the biggest challenge is lack of content. Okay. So not only do I mean that in the sense of lack of songs, like lack of contents for songs, but music, right? But I also mean lack of content on, on their social media, and lack of like promotional content, YouTube pieces, Instagram pieces, different avenues of outputting content, right? Lack of content, that's absolutely one of the main reasons. I've worked with a few artists already in helping them do some promotional work with them, and they'll put up 1 or 2 posts and then they die out, right? They stop posting on their pages. And then I've also worked with other artists that have enough music to be releasing a song a day, and releasing a song a day, and a song a day, and a song a day. Now what's really interesting is the artists that are releasing new music daily are gaining new followers daily. Okay. And that just comes with, they're active on social media. So whenever they release a new song, they come back up to the top of the timeline, right? So the people that are subscribed, they'll like it, they'll see it, they'll like it, they'll click it. They may or may not, right? But it's every single day they're producing new content, whether it be a new song or a new graphic or a new picture, whatever. But if they're producing new content daily, they're gaining new listeners daily, new fans, right? New fans. They're gaining new fans daily. So that's one, is they're just not producing enough content, right? Another reason why I think they're having trouble acquiring new listeners is because of the stigma, the belief that just because an artist is not signed to a record label doesn't mean they're not good, right? So for some reason, a lot of people think that in order for an artist to be good, they must be signed to a label, right? We've glorified the record labels so much in the 80s and the 90s that in the 2000s, when we broke up with them, the majority of people, the vast majority, like the public, the general public, can't seem to break up with the idea that a record label did not mean that artist was talented, right? In a lot of cases, record labels actually fabricated the artist's identity, or they fabricated their identity, or they fabricated certain aspects of the artist, right? So it wasn't so much that they were talented, right? It was just clever work by the record label. So I think that's another reason why we're having trouble, or why certain artists are having trouble getting new listeners, is because a lot of people are still in the mentality that in order for an artist to be good, they must be signed to a record label. And the reality is that it's not. In fact, I would argue that in today's age, you probably can do more for yourself with a YouTube channel than the vast majority of record labels can do for you. I'm talking about like the record labels that can actually help you out with the amount of money that they have. A handful, probably 5 to 10 record labels that can actually do that for you, right? There's not a lot of people that can do that. Not the way it was in the 80s and the 90s, where if you got signed to a record label, you were almost guaranteed success, right? If you were signed with one of the bigger record labels, it was almost like you were guaranteed success, almost, right? Nowadays, the people that are gaining the most success is absolutely the people that are hustling their social media. Okay, you look at there's a lot of rappers that are just grinding and grinding and grinding on Instagram every single day. They're posting new things on Instagram. Others are choosing YouTube as their platform. But the ones that are winning are the ones that are producing daily content. Whatever it is, it doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be this massively produced video every day, or this, you know, you don't have to put out a massively produced song every day. You just produce some content. It can be as simple as a 2-minute video saying hello to your fans. Like, it can be that simple, but a little bit of extra content daily content is going to bring you a lot more return ROI, or however you want to call it, right? So daily content output, I think it's imperative for artists' growth nowadays. Okay. Now another point that I want to make about that daily content output is you want to be on every single platform as possible. And that's another challenge that musicians are facing. They face themselves with it, right? Is the fact that, hey, yeah, there's so many platforms out there, and you're choosing one or two. Like, no, you got to be on iTunes, you got to be on Spotify, on Reverb, on Townwave. You got to be on on Tidal, right? You want to be on every single app that you can to distribute your music. Now, I understand some of it is paid music, some of it is not paid, some of it is for streaming only, some of it is for download, and you can make money off of it, right? Well, make the distinction, upload whatever you can on whatever platform you can, but be on every platform. Even if some of those platforms only have 2 or 3 tracks, right? That's fine, but you want to be reaching as many heads as possible. We know this for a fact, that the same people that are on Instagram daily are not the same people that are on Snapchat daily, and are not the same people that are using Spotify daily and using Townwave daily or using Tidal daily. It's different cultures, right? So you want to be catering to every single culture. So you want to be on Instagram and just catering to that Instagram audience, and then you want to go to Snapchat and just cater to that Snapchat audience. You want to go on YouTube and cater to that YouTube audience. Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever platform that exists, you want to be on it, and you want to be releasing daily content. And I think that's going to be a huge way of gaining new listeners. Of course, you want to do paid ads. Paid ads is 100% the way to go, especially right now with Instagram and Facebook. Paid ads are so underpriced and overvalued. They're underpriced and overvalued. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you have $10 a week, extra $10 a week to invest into your business, you're gonna win. It's because it's so underpriced and overvalued. Like, the ROI that you're gonna get for investing $10 a week into your business is immense, right? And a lot of artists are just not aware that that's a possibility. They're just not aware that's even an option, right? And so they're not doing it. They're not practicing. They're not using their social media as a communication device, right? A lot of them are using their social media, but not in a way that they could be, not in the way they could be doing it to really be promoting their music as a communication device. Okay, we got to stop over glorifying social media and just use it as it was meant to be, which is a communication tool. Okay. Social media is just a communication tool. use social media to communicate about your music, communicate about your projects, and just release that music daily, release that content daily. Okay, don't hold anything back, just release it, release it, release it. Okay, I see a lot of posts, I've seen this so much, like artists are holding back songs from their albums, which is okay, I understand, it doesn't go with the theme, right? And then they're producing it, they're not producing it, but they're releasing it as singles, and they're releasing like stuff that didn't make the album, they're still using it as content. And that's what you got to do to win, just daily content, and just keep growing and growing that channel. The more content you have, the more relevant you're going to be on searches. So when people search hip hop, rock, pop, whatever genre you're doing, when people are searching that, you're going to start coming up more and more in the searches, and you're going to gain more listeners just simply because you have so much more content out there than everybody else. Excuse me. And in 2 to 3 years, okay, in 2 to 3 years, when you've been putting out content daily content for 2 to 3 years, and you're gaining one new listener, right? Now that listener has enough content to be listening to your music for, like, 2 to 3 nights in a row. And that's what you want. You want to create that culture. You want to create listeners that have a hardcore attachment to your music, and they just want to hear more and more and more and more. And whenever they get that need, that urge to listen to your music, boom, you're right there with another song, and right there with another song, and right there with another song. And that, I think, is going to be it's a great way to increase your listeners. These are just some of the obstacles that a lot of artists face when distributing their music and gaining new listeners. Okay, that's all the time I got for you guys. I gotta get back to this. If you agree with me, hop in the comments. If you disagree with me, hop in the comments. Either way, let's talk about it. Subscribe.